In this video, we're going to create a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition character using the supplemental rules for Call to Adventure. So let's get started. Welcome to Solitary RPG. Alright, to get started, I went ahead and reset my player board according to the gameplay results I had from my learn how to play the game. And I'm playing a human with my origins as a villager. I gained the trait of tough, intimidating, and I rigged the game. And we decided during that was going to be rigged the game of life. It just works for me. My class is a druid. I rescued a prisoner. I became a folk hero, and then I became a freedom fighter. Yes. I became the chosen one after I beat the Dark Lord's bride in combat. And then I hired a killer. We're going to create a little bit of a, corruption in my character. So he hired a killer, a necromancer, to take out a rival of his so that he could become stronger, get like a stronger reputation or move up in the social scale. And that made him a lore master. I don't know what a lore master is, but druid lord master kind of sounds cool. Like maybe moved up the ranks in the religion, and maybe that's like a special rank in the druid religion. I don't know. We're gonna make that up. Anyways, and then we went on to defeat the Dark Lord. So that's where my character is. So now what we want to do is we want to take all this information and we're going to go through the PDF that you can download from the Brotherwise game site. It wasn't included in the rule book. This is a separate PDF. It is very nice in color. I don't have a colored printer, so everything's printed in black and white. But we just kind of read through here. The first thing we're going to have to look at is right here. These are the characteristic ruins, the strength, dexterity, and all that kind of stuff, and the attribute bonuses that you get for those skills. So I see myself having a lot of low skills because I don't have a big variety of ruins on the table. So we'll see how that goes. So this is going to require me to reset the board so I could set this down and work through this on this really nice character sheet that you can download from Brotherwise Games. Everything's there. Your ruins are there. It's just a neat character sheet. I don't play D&D 5th edition. It's not the game I choose to go to for gaming, but for a character sheet, this kind of works. It's got a lot of spaces to write. I don't know a lot about developing a character in D&D 5th edition. I can do basic and expert and stuff like that, but not 5th. So what we're going to do is just use the instructions here to document on here what the characteristics are, and everything like that. So let me reset and we'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I went ahead and zoomed in on this section here, which is talking about the characteristic ruins, and what your ability score is going to be and what your modifier is going to be. And those are all going to be listed on this left-hand side. Looks like there's a line in the middle, so you probably write the attribute score and the modifier underneath. And the other thing that I noticed reading the rules, I noticed on the back here it said, finally, if your story tableau has less than 10 ability runes, you may take the tenacious trait shown below. And then it just lists here basically one of your ability scores of your choice by 2. So looking at our character tableau, and I'm not going to move it back over, it's off to the side. I'm just going to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11, so we cannot take that special ability. So this is the first phase of creating our character. We can give our character a name. It's going to be Bastine or Bestin. So the first one is strength. I only have one rune in strength. So that gives me an ability score of 10 and gives me 0 modifiers. So, boom. The next one is dexterity. Yeah. We have a big fat 0 in that, so I'm clumsy. -1 in that one. So this is going to be one of the more important ones. This is Constitution. So this is this raises a very interesting question. If we're looking at this chart, it goes from 0 to 4+. But when we were doing the game demonstration, I explained you can only have a maximum of 3 runes for any of your characteristics. So how do we get to a 4+ here? And I can only assume that based on your character trait, you can get additional ones, and they're counting that. Otherwise, I don't know how you would get to a 4+. You can't have 4 runes for any characteristics. So that's the only way I see how they could justify that. So I'm going to have to say I've got 4, which is going to give me an ability score of 16 with a +3. My intelligence is, I've got 1 intelligence rune. So what does 1 give me? It gives me a 10, which is a +0 for that. And then the next one is wisdom. I have 1 wisdom, but I also have, because my character card, I had 4 experience, so that unlocked the other one, so that would give me 2. And that would give me a +1. And the last one is going to be charisma. I'm very charismatic because, that's important. We had 3 of them, so that's going to give me 14 +2. So that's the first step you take. Now, this does explain about the acts, past, present, future. And we kind of talked about that already, but for this video, my goal is just to talk about generating the statistics, getting the information from your Tableau into a piece of paper so that you can play your character. So the next thing we're going to look at is our heritage. So these are going to be our heritage, which basically relates in the D&D world as race. And then they give you the source books for everything. So this would be Player's Handbook for PHB. And you would just write that down. So there's nothing special here. It's just you're going to follow the character creation for a human. And you have a nice little spot here for, we got background, class. And then over here we have our acorn, which is heritage. So we would just write human. Broken lead, human. So, and if you wanted to, you could write, the PHB for Player's Handbook, but we're gamers, we know this stuff. The next one is choose your class. So here we have the different classes. I was a druid, so it's going to be a 5e class, is already druid, and it's in Player's Handbook. So again, here we have class, which is over on the side. And they put the symbols. I'm left-handed, so I turn all my papers sideways. I'm sure someone is probably going, why are you turning the paper sideways? Sorry, folks. Being left-handed, I need to shift my paper. They put the symbols for everything, so we're good here. And then the last one is going to be background. So that's page 1's done. And then we go origins. That's what I'm assuming background is supposed to be, because it says 5e background. So coming off your origins card, I was a villager. I'm a villager. This is Call to Adventure, CTAB. And if you want to know all of the different abbreviations, it's on the very back of here. CTAB, Call to Adventure background. So I could I probably have the art card for Call to Adventure background if I wanted to pull that out for right now, I'm just going to write down villager. And maybe when I draft my actual backstory, I'll pull that card out so that I can add that information to the story and all that good stuff. And now we're going to go to story icons. So these are the little gray boxes we talked about in the play video. This gives me some bonus skill proficiencies. Most of these are coming out of the source handbooks. And then here's proficiency bonuses. So I don't know. I'm assuming this just means a check mark, like I just checked the box. I don't know if I'm supposed to write a number. Again, I don't play D&D 5th edition. I don't know exactly all the steps of character creation, and I'm not going to read a book to do this. Just kind of walking everyone through the process. If you play D&D 5th edition and you understand all this, you know what to do, but we're just going to look at this. So I got to look at my icons. So in my origins tableau, I have none of the icons. I have these are my ruins and everything. But when I get to my second act, I do have quite a few icons. After determining the skill proficiency from your class and background, you may gain 1 bonus proficiency if your Call to Adventure story tableau includes 3 or more of a single story icon. If you have more than one set of 3 matching story icons, you may choose 1 bonus skill proficiency from those available to you. So I only have, what do I have? So here's all my icons, and I do not have 3 of any icon. I have 2 of the Scales of Justice. I have 2 of the Mask, 2 of the Sun, and 1 of the Rooks. So I do not qualify for any of these proficiency bonuses. So that's a big wash. But that's one of the things while playing, and I talked a little bit about that, collecting sets. So for doing this, you need to have, to take advantage of this, you have to have 3 or more of a single story icon. So we get nothing. Trait cards. So now we're going to look at trait cards, 5e options. So is there any place for, down at the bottom, it's got feats, features, and traits. So I don't know if that is where I'm supposed to write the trait cards. And on the back, I don't see anything, so I'm not quite sure where all this information gets logged, but like a trait card, we had tough and intimidate. Oh, no. There it is. So in Act 1, these are both trait cards. I had tough and intimidate. So if we look up, tough's not even listed as a trait. And then is intimidate? Intimidating. I wonder why tough isn't listed here. That's interesting. Got me on that. Maybe there's a reason why it's not listed. Maybe it's listed somewhere else. But intimidating, intimidate skill, proficiency, it's in the player's handbook. So I guess I'm just going to write that down in this right here. Intimidating. That's the only trait I had in Act 1 and Act 2. I had 2 traits. I had Folk Hero and Freedom Fighter. I really like the Freedom Fighter one. That saved me. Folk Hero background, and Freedom Fighter is not listed. That's weird. So we will just write Folk Hero down. All right, and then in Act 3, what did we have? For that, we had Necromancer and Lore Master. So Lore Master is a history proficiency. So I'm writing the cards down because uh, I don't know what the actual backgrounds are. I don't know how this stuff works for this, but it says history skill and history skill proficiency. So I don't know if I'm supposed to like check this. Like, do I fill in this box or what? But that one says history fill. The other ones, the folk hero said folk hero background and intimidating. Intimidate skill proficiency. So I don't know intimidation. So I don't know if I'm supposed to like fill these in like this to represent something. I don't know. I don't play the game. And then Necromancer School of Necromancy Wizard subclass or Death Cleric subclass. Ooh, that's neat. So they're not. So this, I guess, allows me to take a subclass. Necromancer. Okay. So those are the trait cards here. And then that's the origins sheet. So we already did all that. Then the last one are our challenge cards. So the next thing we need to do is we need to take our challenge cards and see if we get any bonuses. So game of riddles. Is it on here? Only I got goblin raid. I don't see game, and then paths. So solve a riddle was or rig a game was the one I won. None of those. So I don't have anything from Act 1 for my challenges. Act 2, Lair of the Serpent Cult. It's not listed here. The one that I won was Rescue a Prisoner. I'm just double checking everything because I would assume if this was on here, Rescue the Prisoner, there's two different paths, so it's either going to be one or the other that you would get. And my last one was Assassination Attempt. There's no A's. The one I got was Hired a Killer. Nothing on there. So I get no bonuses. So I did not play to creating. I would have assumed everything would have been listed in some way, shape, or form, but it wasn't. And now we go on to writing our story. If you use in Call Adventure 5e character sheet, flip to the back and complete these statements. As a youth, I showed signs of future greatness. So what they're talking about when they say flip to the back is you have these three boxes here that you could write, and the questions are actually prompted on there for you, and you can go in and fill this out and then refer to your hero's final position on the corruption track. If you have at least one virtue, sons, they're called virtues. Son, consider being good and or lawful. If you have at least two corruption moons, considered being chaotic, and if you have four corruption, considered being evil, if your GM allows. So I had 8, so I would be a good character, maybe. Good people can do bad things. Anyways, and then we just put in the finishing touches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break away from this, and I'm going to go ahead and write out my backstory. I'm going to answer these questions. So I will come back and read you my story. So we created a character using the cards to generate my stats and some skills and abilities. On the back here, I wrote down all of the cards for the different, like for the origins and my character and my destiny, everything that all the challenges and traits and everything that I took on. And then I wrote up a little backstory for my character, and I'll read that in just a second. I pulled the 2 art cards, one for the villager and one for the lore master, because I wasn't quite sure what a lore master, how that was going to tie into the story. So I wanted to read a little bit of the information on the back. It gave me a cool little story narrative, but it didn't give me a lot of information. But then doing some research about druids and everything, they are the keepers of information and everything. So they are kind of lore masters, so it kind of fit in nicely. And then the villager card had some really cool information on it that I actually took and kind of put into my story. I didn't take it word for word. I just took kind of the concept of this, put it into my story, and then I started writing. I just went to town writing, using all these keywords to kind of draft my character's backstory. So, pardon my penmanship. I was just writing. This is my first draft. This is not how everything's probably going to end up, but I will read it as dramatically as I possibly can. So, I wrote this from the perspective of me telling the story of my character, not necessarily coming from the point of view of the character. The only memory of your childhood was that of the backwater village you were born. One day your father was taken away for speaking out against the tyrannical king. You had to learn how to fend for yourself and knew only the tough can survive in this wasteland. Living on the streets of Sanctuary, your only real skill was cheating people at cards. People were intimidated by your demeanor, and you knew that it was time to move on from this city. While traveling, you had an unlikely encounter. You met an old, wise druid. He took you in and taught you about his beliefs. You were on a new path in life as a druid, and you set out on an adventure of knowledge. When in a town on the coast, a member of the order was imprisoned unjustly. You were able to free him from the noose that hung around his neck. This made you a hero to the folks in the town, and they showered you in their appreciation. You spent many years in this town studying and standing up for those wrongly treated by others. One day, you were confronted by an evil you have never seen before, the bride of the Dark Lord. In an epic battle, her life was taken, but a piece of her entered your soul, slowly corrupting your thoughts and desires. Your thirst for power overtook your waking hours. You made a deal with a necromancer to kill off a rival so you could rise to power. You believed you were the chosen one to become the lore master. Confronted by members of the Druid Order of your wrongdoings, the evil that had entered your soul could only be removed if you could kill the Dark Lord from which it came. You set out on a journey to find the Dark Lord and free your soul. Knowing that your destiny was one that will end in your death, you faced it head on. After years of travel and land, you finally faced your captor. In the wastelands in which you were born, the battle between good and evil commenced. In a spectacular will of force and might, you rid the world of the Dark Lord and freed your soul. You now travel the land as a freedom fighter, seeking out the evil that corrupts the world. So, that is the backstory I came up with for this druid character, Bastine. It's not perfect. I'm not going to say I'm a writer. I'm far from it. But this is the first draft, and I can massage it a little bit, clean up the grammar, and just kind of draft it a little bit more structured and everything like that. But this was just me jotting down notes from the game and all the cards that I gathered, and I just had fun doing it. So this is something I enjoy, creating character backstories, and I really feel this is a good one that I'll probably just write in a journal. And one day I might need a backstory for somebody, and I'll just pull it out of my journal and be good to go. So anyways, thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.